In my video, second day beef stew, I talk about my love of 2 for meals. Meals where I can take the leftovers and turn them into something completely different the next day. This is one of those. We are going to take one of our Cornish crosses that we raised and turn it into a rotisserie chicken. I have a rotisserie machine that is also an air fryer and a dehydrator and a toaster oven. I bought it. It was an impulse buy. I don't regret it because it is amazing. It's the Instapot Air Vortex. Highly recommend it. It's reasonable and it's more than paid for itself. We're going to rotisserie this chicken. We're going to eat the legs and thighs for dinner tonight with some vegetables. Tomorrow, I'm going to take it apart, the breast and the remaining meat, and turn it into another dish, which is a rotisserie chicken gnocchi. So I'm going to take you along on both days, both today with the rotisserie chicken and tomorrow with the gnocchi. So this is one of our Cornish crosses that we raised in the side yard. And it's going to be dinner tonight, but it's also going to be dinner tomorrow night. I intentionally selected one of our smaller birds. This guy is just over 2.5 pounds because I find that the smaller birds work better in the rotisserie machine. The big birds tend to, their little leggies get stuck as it's rotating, and it's just easier to deal with this smaller bird. This is one of the few times I actually use paper towels. We're gonna throw this away. We'll be right back. I'm going to pat him clean, which is why I'm using a paper towel so I can throw away. And I'm going to moisturize him. It's actually probably her. I'm going to moisturize her with some olive oil. It is so weird to know that this was once in our side yard. But I know what quality of life they had, so it makes it a little easier. Because this is going to go in an Italian dish, I am going to use an Italian seasoning mix that is mostly oregano, parsley, let's see what else in here. Oregano, basil, thyme, rosemary, and marjoram. Add that to my list of things I need to get. We're also going to use my favorite Penzeys roasted garlic. Use fresh garlic on this, but I find that I kind of like doing basically a dry rub with my meat. This is not a true dry rub because I would pre-mix it and then rub it in there, but and then some freshly ground black pepper. Olive oil that is on my hands is making my hands slippery. Now we're gonna put some pink Himalayan sea salt on here. one of the reasons why I picked the smaller bird, because this does not do well. It's hard to get the little rotisserie spit onto bigger birds. It's easier to do it on small birds. Legs so that they don't flop around while it's rotating. Usually just kind of do a figure 8. Seems to work. Now we're gonna head over to the rotisserie and turn everything on and get it rotating. We'll come back in an hour and we'll have a rotisserie chicken that puts Costco to shame. But Miranda, I hear you say, I don't have a rotisserie that also air fries and dehydrates and toaster ovens. Well, you're in luck. All you need is a pan. You can obviously do your chicken in the oven. I like rotisserieing it because it gets it finished in 45 minutes to an hour, which is really cool and fast. And it just comes out really nice. A lot of people will use this. I mean, if you go to Costco or the grocery store, everywhere has a rotisserie chicken. For reasonably priced, I just try not to buy those because we're trying to avoid factory farmed meat. But if that's your option, go for it. I'm not going to shame you. You can do all of this with the pre-bought rotisserie chicken. So the spit comes out like this. And I usually end up cutting off the leg and thigh, and that's what I'll end up serving for dinner tonight. Oh, I'm gonna flip it over first so I can get to it. It's really warm, so I'm gonna go grab a pair of tongs to hold on to it with. While I'm carving it up, because it's still like really hot. That will be our dinner portion. I will allow to cool. I will shred it and put it into a refrigerator container for tomorrow's dinner. So my kitchen is in like complete chaos right now. I've been processing apples all day, like 15 pounds. It's been kind of crazy. That whirring behind me is my dehydrator. I'm making little apple chunks to put into oatmeal and cookies and things like that. So forgive me. But this is my second part of my 2-for meal chicken gnocchi. We're gonna start by heating up the skillet, kind of a medium heat. And we're gonna melt 4 tablespoons of butter. Usually I would use an olive oil, but because I'm making a cream sauce, the butter seemed like the better choice. Okay, now that we have our melted butter, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of minced garlic and a chopped up onion. We're going to kind of spread those out so that there's more surface area to fry up. Until they become translucent and aromatic. While this is cooking, we're going to season with some fresh ground black pepper. And a pinch of salt from Salt Pig. Let this do its thing for another few minutes. Another ingredient that I'm going to add is a little bit of nutmeg. I'm just going to give it a actually a really good cold weather recipe because it uses a lot of things that are in season when you get into the fall. So we're going to add to our mixture, we're going to add 8 ounces of sliced baby bella mushrooms. We're just going to let this cook until the baby bellas have released some of their liquid and shrunken in size. That's kind of what mushrooms do. Periodically stir everything so nothing sticks or becomes overly done, but it's not something that you have to babysit and stir constantly. If you watched my second day beef stew recipe video, this is the stuff that I forgot. You're going to just gently sprinkle about 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour onto your veggies. And you're going to kind of stir everything around so everything is well coated. In your flour. You don't want any of the obvious chalky whiteness that comes with the flour. You want it to be you want it to coat the vegetables and you want it to brown onto the vegetables. We add our cup of chicken stock. And our 1.5 cups of whole milk. Everything will thicken up nicely. Just mix that around. Take this moment to go ahead and add our shredded chicken. We're going to add 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. The gnocchi one at a time so that I don't end up blowing my pan. That would be bad. And a mess. And it would probably ruin dinner. And that would be bad. Because I hate wasting food. Move my spatula. And the idea is that as the sauce simmers, it will thicken up and it will kind of cook the gnocchi. At least that's what we hope is going to happen. That's what should happen. I'm going to cover everything with my Mason silicone lid or cast iron, which is really cool. I highly recommend it. I don't know if you can buy it separately or if you have to buy the Dutch oven for it with it, but we're just going to let this kind of simmer for about 20 minutes. stir this, but like not like just kind of move it around. This time I will probably use my Dutch oven to make this. Bubbling really nicely right now. We're going to add a couple more ingredients. We're going to add a handful of freshly chopped basil. And about a cup of baby spinach. All goes according to plan, I should have baby spinach from my own garden in about a month or two. If you're just going to stir this into the, fold it at this point into your dish. Just kind of let it wilt into the pan. Never let anyone shame you for being a messy cook. As long as you clean up when you're done, it's okay. Just let it simmer here for about 3 to 5 more minutes. Just long enough for the spinach to become tender, and then it's ready to serve. Took me about 25-30 minutes. That's not bad for a weeknight meal. I started doing these 2-for meals because Everett and I have a really hard time getting through leftovers. When a meal is, sized for 4 servings, we can, that's great for us because we can eat 2 for dinner and then we can eat 2 for lunch the next day. But when you get recipes and pieces of meat and stuff like that that are really geared towards a family of 4 to 6 people, then we run into a problem. And these 2-for meals really help us eliminate food waste in our household. By the time we get through a whole chicken, it's getting kind of questionable for us. The chicken's like a little sketchy. 2-for meals breathe new life into that ingredient, which is a win-win for us. I think this is a really simple meal. It's worth trying. It's a great autumn meal because, again, it uses a lot of seasonal things that are readily available in the autumn, like onions and mushrooms and spinach. I'm hoping we can make it again in the very near future using more ingredients that are grown here on our homestead, but like I said before, growing home takes time. Home wasn't built in a day. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and until I see you next time, take care of yourselves.